Many people say the following: there is your version. We have talked through it. There is actually a logic here, and we understand why it does this. Another version, you can kill two birds with one stone. The bottom line is that there is no strategic advantage in Russia or Ukraine. Strategic, yes, there is Russia's advancement. But winning strategies, there aren't those capabilities, there aren't those strengths. And why is Putin doing this? If he can't advance on the battle line, if he can't implement decrees on the battlefield, he just needs to intimidate Ukraine, make simply hellish conditions of survival. So, most Ukrainians who have some money and have the opportunity to leave Ukraine, they will simply leave Ukraine, thus making the country economically incapable in the long run, because you need human resources to work to protect the economy. Understandable, but still on the opposite side of the scale is Trump. And Trump is now, as we see, tired of watching Putin ignore his calls for peace, all too clearly ignored by striking peaceful cities. Trump is now making a decision. Okay, so here's 300 million. A material solution. For 300 million, Ukraine gets weapons, something Trump hasn't done before. Therefore, of course, military experts should weigh whether, in the end, Putin is more of a plus or a minus. Yes, he has ensured that some of these weapons are defensive, not offensive, and accordingly, some number of weapons Ukrainians at the front will not see, because they will be in the rear. And accordingly, Putin's soldiers at the front will be a little easier. There is a plus. Another plus that you mentioned is that Ukrainians are leaving, and accordingly there is a shortage of laborers, a shortage of conscripts, and so on. On the other hand, we see that Trump is now making a decision to start supporting Ukraine in earnest. Yes, now he is allocating 300 million. Tomorrow he may impose new sanctions. Senator Graham says that the green light has already been given. So there are fat minuses to the whole story, of course. So, in any case, what we can say for sure right now is that this reversal of Trump's direction toward Ukraine, it is precisely Putin's inability or unwillingness to change his war tactics. So, we're not saying he should stop fighting altogether, not now. We're looking at the situation from his perspective. Not in terms of morality or universal values. From his own interests, he believes he needs to fight. The question is how to fight a war in a way that minimizes damage to oneself and maximizes damage to the enemy. Let's see what Trump does now. He has already announced some news about Russia for Monday. Though I wouldn't try to guess right now what it will be or if it will be anything at all. It seems that the announcement, I don't rule it out. Trump is an emotional man, so it's possible he just couldn't hold it in and spoke out. I'm not ruling out that he created a topic for negotiation. That is, in Moscow, when they heard the news, understandably they are now hustling. Dmitry is calling Witkoff and trying to find out what's planned there and whether it can be influenced and what it takes to do that. I mean, Trump has created a topic and it's entirely possible that Russia is now going to agree with him on something, and so Monday's release is not what Trump had in mind when he announced this news. But nevertheless, what's said is said. Something will become clearer on Monday. Maybe sanctions, maybe new arms shipments. Maybe he will announce that he will admit Ukraine to NATO. After all, Trump is the master of the position. He will do what he wants. Let's wait and see. If I'm not mistaken, the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or Politico, I can't recall. The authoritative publication writes the following, that, in fact, Putin, the Kremlin, they are ready for this. They are ready, and as Medvedev wrote in his Telegram channel, that they say Trump is starting again the supply of weapons. Trump almost swore at Putin, said he's not a good man, kills a lot. To which Medvedev wrote, "My reaction is the same as that of the Supreme Commander-in-Chief. Nothing. Let him say whatever he wants." So Politico writes, I think, that he's liked Putin and Trump's relationship since the beginning of the year, but he's willing to sacrifice it for what he's doing in Ukraine. Putin has so far, of course, shown a willingness to defer to Trump on other fronts, on the Middle East. On business, you and I have repeatedly discussed the numerous offers of big money that Russia has offered to America, Dmitriev has offered to Witkoff. That is, Putin was willing to give to Trump everywhere except on the Ukrainian side. Ukraine is of fundamental importance to him, and he certainly doesn't want to concede on Ukraine, but let's see what's on the opposite side of the scale. Trump has a very powerful advantage, and to say that Putin could easily fall out with Trump is untrue. I mean, he can quarrel with Trump, sure, he can toot his horn, he's historically always been like that, tooting his horn always. But it could cost him dearly. The fate of Nicholas II is before our eyes. He also pretended to be principled, not to bend, stubborn. And what did he end up with? And Putin, if Trump really seriously bites the bullet and puts the resources he has into creating serious problems for Putin, sanctions, arms shipments to Ukraine, admitting Ukraine into NATO, and so on and so forth. Putin is really going to be in serious trouble. Not in the short term. He'll hold on for a while longer. He still has resources. But the long-term outlook is going to be absolutely bleak. Maybe Putin himself will make it to the very end as president. Maybe he'll still make it to this term. Maybe he'll get reelected for one more. But still, eventually, maybe in his lifetime, maybe after him, it will all end in a grand collapse. And the system itself will simply be destroyed, Putin's system. And for Putin, even if he pulls through personally, he's got kids and grandkids after all, he kind of has to think about them too. So for him, it's still a strategically losing path, falling out with Trump, I'm sure. What do you make of Trump's latest statement that first Reuters says he's going to give Ukraine a Patriot system, then it's already known. Officially, he says the U.S. will sell arms to NATO, and NATO will give those arms to Ukraine. Is it safe to assume that Trump finally changed his attitude in the last few days? And so these phone conversations where Putin was telling him about battles long ago, Putin likes to tell history and teach history, but only his history. Everyone said that Trump should talk to Putin less because it affects him. But now we see that maybe it's the opposite. Maybe these talks with Putin have actually made him realize the opposite. Igor, of course I can't say it's forever. In Trump's case, nothing is forever at all. Everything is tactical in nature. So if Putin now offers Trump somewhere out there on the Ukrainian track, or somewhere else offers Trump something that Trump likes, Trump will once again change his position. So no, this may all be temporary in nature. But that doesn't mean you have to get desperate and worry about it. That's Trump's style. We have to adapt and act within this style. Zelensky, in my opinion, has learned to do this very well. It was enough for him to figure it out, and as you can see, he now collects bruises and bumps to a minimum. Remember how many were there in the winter, for example. And look what's happening now. That's why he's going to act that way. Meaning that no decision is forever, and therefore it is not the same as talking to Biden once. That's it. Biden has made his decision. The process is underway, and you can relax. That's it. That's how it's going to be from now on. No, in the case of Trump, you cannot relax. You have to constantly fuel this case, demonstrate loyalty, flatter, give in where necessary, where he asked for access to Ukrainian mineral resources. So it's working. So, it's harder than once and for all agreeing on something and it works. It's harder. You have to stand on tiptoe every day, which means you have to be tense. After all, that's what a politician's job is, so that's fine.